welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and this channel is all about SMS beauty, skincare, makeup, sunscreen, ta-da! And today we've got the second installment of a very anticipated, by me at least, video on this product, which is the Complexion Touch by Chanel. I am so excited that I'm like rambling on, but I wanted to come back with a second video on this because I had a feeling, and I still have a feeling, that people are going to say, well, like, what's the difference between the two? And I think that is the most fair question. If you already have the tint, this is the Water Fresh tint, and you're wondering, should I get the Water Fresh Complexion Touch? This is the video for you. So what I'm gonna do is what I always do, which is a side by side, which I'll put the Complexion tint on this side and the touch on this side, just so you can see the differences in coverage, maybe finished, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm actually gonna wash my face off and I'm gonna show you how I would wear these because I think it's a little different than you might think. So let's jump in, got a lot to cover. If you've not already subscribed, please do so and give it a big ol' like and let's get going. Okay, so a little bit of the basics. This is the new product. This is the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. And it's supposed to be like they call it a medium coverage. You can use it as your foundation or you can use it more like a concealer. You can kind of use it however you want. Whereas this one is the Water Fresh Complexion Tint. Man, these names. And this is really meant to be a tinted, I guess, moisturizer. It's sheer coverage. And I really do think that like you can't build it up much and it gives you more of a glowy, radiant finish. Whereas this one, I think they say natural finish, and I guess I would agree with that. It doesn't have a lot of glow to it. It really does dry down quite matte, and there's a considerable difference, at least in the finish and the coverage from both. So they are not the same product at all. They are the same price, which is expensive because it's Chanel. They are both $65 US, and they do have different sizes. So as you can see, this bottle is square, and then inside of it is pretty much what this is, a circular kind of tube. I think they've just kind of minimized the packaging, which is great. Like, this doesn't need to be this way, and it doesn't feel luxurious per se because it's all just plastic. This is also plastic, but it's just more portable, I would say. But this one comes in 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters, and this is 20 ounces or 0.7 fluid ounces. So you are getting less, like a considerable amount. They both do come with their own little brush, and I've mentioned this brush in my previous video, which I will link above, but these brushes are quite different. This one's more of a kabuki, you've got this angled top, and this one is kind of tapered brush, really meant for getting targeted areas. So this one has 16 shades, which is double the tint. This one only has 8 shades, but that does make sense because when you are getting higher in coverage, you just need more shades. Now, is 16 enough? Probably not. They probably need to do better. But for Chanel, to be honest, like that's pretty good. They used to have 1 shade of their bronzer, so I guess we're getting better, but maybe not the most inclusive, to be honest. Okay, enough of me talking. I'm gonna put my hair up because you guys know I have to, and then we're gonna put it on my face. And I'm going to apply them as I have found that I like to do it. So for the Water Fresh tint, I actually like to use my hands. It kind of works better. You can use the brush or your own brush, but then for this Complexion Touch, I actually do really like the brush. I mean, I don't love this brush, but it works really well with the brush. I don't put it on the back of my hand. I just put it right on my face and then use the brush to blend it out. I accidentally got it in my eyebrow and you can see just how much coverage it really does have. That was not intentional. Okay, now it's not the straightest of lines, but the point is that you can see, at least for now, the difference in coverage. And I actually find that this brush, maybe not along my hairline, but I do find that everywhere else you get a pretty decent, like, it's not super streaky with the brush. But I don't love it with my hands. I've tried it. When I use my hands, it like the pigments break, but they get streaky and they like dry too quickly, so I feel like the streaks last. But with the brush, I don't know, it just works. Now, I probably will try using some of my own brushes because this brush is not the greatest, but I think it works just fine if that's what you want to use or you don't have any other brushes. All right, now we're gonna try the other side. This is the new one that I got. I'm almost out of my other one, and I was worried that they were gonna discontinue this, so I bought it. And this is the shade Light Medium, so I got it in a little bit of a lighter shade. I did mention in my other video that this shade is BD21, which is a little light for me right now. You can tell. It's also like, it pulls a little warm and like yellow orange, which I don't love, but I think I'm gonna be able to make it work, especially as we get into winter months. But now I'm gonna apply the tint like I normally would with my hand. And let's use the brush. I actually do like to kind of like go in and use the brush afterward to make sure I don't have any streaks. But I kind of blend it out in the beginning with just my hand. So, do you see? This side is glowier. It feels nice and fresh. Like, it is watery. I mean, both of these are like 60-70% water, but this feels, they say this one is supposed to be cooling. I find that this one is, and I think it's just the water content, the higher amount. This one is pretty much dry to the touch. I think it's gonna be a really good transfer proof makeup. This one, not as much, but it's so sheer that that's really not meant to be its job. But can you see the difference in coverage? Like, I can see it most notably on my forehead. I just see like a line, and of course, like I didn't blend it out perfectly, but I'm not wearing this all day. It's just to kind of illustrate for you guys. I love the tint, I just do. I think this is fine, but would I say like reach for this over so many other light, medium, maybe medium coverage, like foundations or tinted moisturizers? I don't think so. I think what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna show you, is the way that I would wear it, which is, you might have guessed, I'm gonna wear this all over my face, and then I'm gonna use the Complexion Touch more as a concealer. I think that's the way that I'm gonna love it. I think it would work fine as an all over foundation, but I like a little bit more of a glowy, less coverage look. This one, it just doesn't wow me, but I do love the fact that it dries down and is transfer proof. So very good on that front, but let's try it how I would like to wear it. Okay, we're back. Our hair is better than ever, and we're gonna try the method that I think is gonna be, at least for me, the one that I go to. So I'm gonna start off with the Water Fresh Tint. Wow, this is the shade, like I said, medium light, and I tend to just use my hands, spread it over my face, and then I can use a brush or a sponge to kind of make sure there are no streaks, is what I was gonna say. And I actually just repurchased this. I had the shade medium, which is actually a pretty nice shade for me in the summer, but I wanted something a little bit lighter. So I think the medium light is probably my best shade for the tint, but you know, you can lighten and darken things usually. And I go over my eyes, I do everything. I think that was about 3 pumps. Sometimes it doesn't get my nose, so I go over my nose a little bit more. And now, typically I will use any kind of brush. I just have the one that comes with it available. And I think with a brush or a sponge, you just can, at least my method, I use my hands and then I use this to make sure there are no streaks. And it works pretty well for me. So what I love, love, love about the Water Fresh Tint is that I can go in, that took me like a minute, and I can just use my hand and it's on. It's a beautiful layer. It's very thin, sheer, but you can build up other things on top, which is, if you hadn't guessed, that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna take the Complexion Touch, and I have been using the little brush that came with it. It just kind of works for what it's meant to do, which in this case is I'm gonna be using it as kind of more like a concealer. And it helps to break those pigments more, I think, better than the brush for the tint. I gotta get these names in order or I'm never gonna be able to talk about them. Obviously, you see I'm covering my eyelid because I have very kind of veiny red eyelids, and this is pretty much where I use my concealer. The shade for the Complexion Touch is not maybe the best shade for me. It pulls a little orange, a little warm, but it works, especially in the summer. I have another shade of it coming in, so I'm hoping that that works better for me. And I'm just using it as with my brush to kind of use it where I would use concealer. Okay, so that is pretty much how I would wear it. Let's zoom out so you can see it, like a fuller glimpse of it. Look at that. Ah, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so this is definitely the way that I would wear it. I don't love it all over my face. I think the way that if I'm gonna wear it as a foundation, I'm gonna have to kind of add a lot of base layers. Moisturizer, sunscreen, I'm gonna have to give myself a little bit more of a dewy kind of base because this does dry down more matte and it is more coverage than I love. So I think if I have a dewier base, it'll work a little bit better and kind of give me a little bit more of this look. But that said, I can just use this and then go in with the Complexion Touch or a random concealer and get kind of the look that I go for. So I don't think if I had to choose between the two, I would choose this one. I would still choose the tint. Please don't discontinue this. I'm begging you, Chanel, please don't. But if this was not enough coverage for you and you always kind of wanted a little bit more, this is a good alternative. I don't think you're gonna get the same kind of glowy look from it. I think it's gonna be a little bit more toward the side of matte, more like they say natural finish, but it is more matte. I do love that it dries down. It has like a dry touch finish. This one, not so much, but a little bit. So it kind of depends on what you want. So that's kind of how I think I fall for both of these. I think they're both great products. I don't think that this one is worth $65 because it's so revolutionary. I do think that this one is worth $65 because it's so revolutionary. So I hope that helps. I hope you can see how I would wear it and how I will be wearing it. And it gives you ideas of how you can kind of play with it. You don't have to use it all over your face like they suggest. So I hope that helps. I hope if you have not watched my full video on this, please do go give that one a like and a watch. And I think I'm gonna be back for more because I have more products from the Beiges coming in, like the blush. So I'm gonna be testing it out for a while. I'm pretty sure I'm obsessed with all Chanel makeup. I never knew this was gonna be a thing. My bank account didn't either. But here we go, that's what it is. So make sure you like this and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.